The high heart rate alert that wasn't mine. The night her watch gave me an address at 10:11 p.m., my wrist buzzed with a message I wasn't alive enough to deserve. High heart rate, Eva exceeded 125 BPM for 10 minutes while inactive. It arrived from the health app we'd set to share last fall after her doctor told both of us, kindly, to stop pretending stress was a hobby. The alert wore Apple's polite certainty. Underneath the numbers, a little map thumbnail hid behind the text like a shy accomplice. When I pressed it, the map unfolded and said a sentence without verbs: Rowan Hotel. Eva had left at 9 for late tea with Lisa. She kissed me like you kiss when the night already has its shoes on, and said not to wait up if the conversation began to be honest. The tea place closes at 10. The Rowan lives 13 minutes away if the lights behave. I could have replied with a question mark and a heart. I could have turned off sharing like a gentleman who wants plausible deniability. Instead, I let the screen become a hallway and put on the jacket I wear when I need pockets for hope and keys. The elevator was the slow kind that teaches you about your breathing. When the doors opened at the lobby, the doorman nodded as if he had always suspected me of being the kind of person who would discover the truth through software. On the drive, I rehearsed explanations until they didn't fit. Maybe Lisa's cousin was in town and had a room at the Rowan with a balcony and a kettle. Maybe Eva's heart rate was the innocent result of laughter and stares. Maybe I had misread the definition of inactive for both of us. The health app doesn't editorialize. It just writes the minutes in a serious font. The Rowan used to be a bank, and now it sells quiet by the hour. The lobby smelled like lemon and a clever candle. A violinist tried to make all the gold reasonable. I walked past a man telling a story with his hands to a woman who held a glass like a ratio. The elevators waited behind smoked glass as if modesty were their job. On 7, the carpet thickened into the kind of forgiveness money buys. A sign pointed left to rooms ending in even numbers. The balcony door at the hall's end stood propped open with a brass triangle. Air slipped in from the not-quite-rain night. I stepped out, and the city greeted me with a view of its better mistakes. Below, a delivery guy argued kindly with a doorman about where to leave somebody's future. Above, a plane sliced the sky like a patient line through fabric. "Daniel," she said behind me, and my ribs remembered how to perform. I turned. Eva had the sweater from her good moods thrown around her shoulders, and the look of someone who had forgotten how much expression fit in a face. "How did you?" she started, then saw the watch on my wrist and the way my fingers were still half curled around my phone. Her eyes closed and opened like a slow door. "Of course. You shared your heart," I said. "I meant to be funny." "It was. The app told me you were being very alive somewhere that wasn't tea." She laughed once without humor and put her hands on the balcony rail as if it could do something. "I came here to not be careful," she said. "I thought if I did one foolish thing before I became a sensible person again, it would make sense." She tilted her head toward the hallway without turning. "He's inside. He thinks I'm making a call." "Who?" I asked, one syllable, big enough for honesty to stand on without wobbling. "Mateo," she said. "From the gallery, he flirts like he has a budget for it." The corner of her mouth tried for a joke and then filed the paperwork to be serious. "We had wine after an opening saved by lighting. He started, 'Thank you for making me feel vivid. I'm choosing my marriage. Please don't reach out.'" She showed me the screen and then put the phone face down like a period. I put my watch on the counter and covered it with a coaster because sometimes you do small, symbolic, ridiculous things to make a point to the part of yourself that only understands props. We slept badly and close. Morning showed up with its unpaid bills and helpful suggestions. The health app congratulated us both on balanced days, as if it had witnessed the night and wanted to pretend we were statistics. I cursed at it in my head, and then thanked it for being the bad actor that got us on stage. Week 1, we stood in a community center gym with lights that cared more about honesty than mood. A woman with a whistle and the voice of a school bus taught us a box step powered by mutual humiliation and optimism. I stepped on her foot. She laughed like someone reminding a door it was allowed to swing open. We ate stupidly good dumplings near the park and fogged the window with our attempts at remembering ordinary conversation. We sat on the bench by the river and let the water perform its little European lie, and we didn't correct it because mercy is a kind of truth too. Week 2, the watch tried to be helpful and pinged me when Eva started a late-night yoga with Adrian video in the living room. I almost marched into the room with a clever remark, and then remembered I had agreed to be boring when nothing needed drama. I texted from 10 feet away, "Need a spotter for Savasana." She sent back an eye roll emoji and 10 minutes later sat on my lap and said, "I'm loud now," and YouTube would have approved of what happened next and every platform would have called it safe. I'm not pretending there weren't bad days. There were. One Thursday the dishwasher beeped at 9:41 and we almost let it be an allegory. We didn't. We turned the music up and danced on 4 kitchen tiles like 2 law-abiding criminals. Another night a photo from the Rowan appeared in a friend's story, and both of us stared at the brass birds for one long breath and then looked at each other until the room had the decency to be ours again. The watch kept trying to turn our hearts into notifications. We left the sharing on. We learned the sensation of not checking it every hour like birds at the windowsill. We let it be the boring thing it was supposed to be. A monitor, not a narrator. A month later, Eva set a calendar invite that simply said the Rowan, 7 p.m. My stomach did the trick it learned and then unlearned. I opened it ready to fight a date and found notes that read, "Dessert, balcony, loud things only, no elevators." We went. The violinist was back, practicing forgiveness again. We ordered the cheapest thing you can eat with 2 spoons and a serious look. On the balcony where the night had first made us admit we were not okay, we said new things and old things and the air did its job of not breaking. On the way home, the watch buzzed with a heart rate I recognized as mine, too fast for the speed limit, respectable for a person who had just decided to keep wanting what he already had. I showed her the screen. "Look," I said, "my heart likes you." She laughed, tired and golden. "Tell it to calm down," she said. "We have forever." I tapped the screen so it would stop pretending to know more than it does. "Hey," I told it in my head, "you're not the story." Then to her out loud, the only sentence I can recommend to anyone who has ever stood on a balcony practicing verbs, "Come home." We are not all set. We are not saints. We are 2 people who installed a fence in the software and left the gate open for each other. Sometimes the numbers are high because we run the stairs. Sometimes they're high because we speak a truth we should have said earlier. Either way, the watch buzzes. Either way, I look up first, not down. If you need an address for the night we got better at being ordinary, it's not the Rowan. It's the kitchen floor where the list lives, the 4 dance tiles by the sink, the bench by the river that lies beautifully. The map keeps trying to help. And still, the best directions I know are 6 syllables long and fit in a text I send from 10 feet away when the kettle lies about boiling. Play our song. I'm here.